I would like to cover a civil war that no one likes to talk about. The war is well hidden, practically disguised in chapter 19 of the book of Judges. We are not totally sure when this took place. Some think the occurrences that are told in this book of Judges happened about 2 generations after the Exodus, but we're not even sure about when the Exodus took place. So according to many, the events took place about 2 generations after the arrival of the children of Israel to the land of Canaan, having been led out of Egypt, the land of bondage. It is around the 12th century BC. Historians like to call this period the collapse of the late Bronze Age. At the time, they probably had a different name for it. There were 12 clans of Israelites. They occupied the area of Israel and Transjordan. There were other city nations as well. There were the Canaanites, which dominated the area, and later were called the Phoenicians. There were the sea people, who were referred to as the Philistines. There were the Jebusites of Jerusalem and Transjordan. There were the Hittites. It was a busy place. We will mostly talk about the Israelites, but it was very crowded in the land of Canaan. It looks as though within the Israelites the Levites were dominant, but the Judah tribe was very militant as well, and so was Benjamin. The Levites ran the religious affairs, they collected the taxes, they had Levite strongholds everywhere. There was no king at the time, there were only farmers, herdsmen, soldiers, and priests. The chapter starts off with the story of a Levite who is traveling with his concubine and a servant, and they are coming from Bethlehem of Judah to the hills of Ephraim. They pass by the Jebusite town of Jerusalem, but they refrained from entrance. The Jebusites were not friends. The day was reaching its end. Reluctantly, the small group spent the night in a town called Gibeah. It was the territory of the tribe of Benjamin. After darkness, they were approached by a local gang. Having had a heated exchange, the Levite's concubine is raped and killed. And having lost his concubine to a murderous rape gang, the Levite places her body on the donkey and left the place as fast as he could. It is accepted that the Bible leaves very few gaps in the narrative when it comes to this kind of accounts. The Bible is very descriptive. Up to now, we are just warming up. This part is called the exposition. Now starts the real story, a story that is accounted as a civil war, but almost ends up as a genocide. The Levite victim sends for all the other tribes to demand justice, it being punishment for rape and punishment for vile crime against man and God, probably compensation as well. When an attempt is made to bring the people of Gibeah to justice, I'm thinking perhaps the tribesmen of Benjamin had issues with authority. Either way, they were unwilling to take responsibility for the offense. By doing that, they defied the assembly of the Israelite tribes. In practice, they had broken away from the united Israelites. As a result of this, the other 11 tribes unite to take military action against the tribe of Benjamin and bring them to justice. I want you to note that there was never a hearing about this. I can only imagine that they had known about this gang in advance, but it is not discussed. The tribe that is chosen to carry out the sanction and restore unity is the tribe of Judah. This is an odd choice. It makes sense logistically because Judah has a common border with Benjamin, and the dead woman, the victim of the crime, was from the tribe of Judah. But for this reason too, choosing the tribe of Judah to act as the policeman was a poor choice. The tribe of Judah had a common border, so obviously there were some earlier issues regarding territory. In reality, this choice turned out to be a terrible mistake. It was already known that the Benjamites were defiant. Less known was how good they were with arms. The clan of Benjamin were incredible archers and quick with the Balearic sling. First 2 engagements resulted in a terrible defeat for Judah. Benjamin archers inflicted numerous casualties on the volunteer army of farmers and herdsmen. The third engagement proved favorable for Judah and the united tribes. They were able to destroy the Benjamin defenses and burnt down the city of Gibeah. The next thing that happened was that Judah's strong men looted, killed, and destroyed all the Benjamin towns and villages. The entire territory was cleaned of man, woman, and beast. The only survivors were a single regiment of archers that took to the rocks and stayed there for 4 whole months. This is where the tone of the biblical narrative changes. It becomes obvious that the united Israelite tribes had not intended to annihilate the entire tribe of Benjamin. It sounds to me as though the Judah soldiers were just a little over-motivated. They might have wanted to avenge their dead or take over the turf. In any event, they took particular care to leave no survivors. As the wise people of the tribe's assembly realized what had taken place, they understood that things went too far. An emergency meeting took place in Shiloh. It was the place where the Ark of Covenant was kept, in the tabernacle. It was a significant religious and administrative center at the time. Messages were sent to the Rock of Ramon to try and reconcile and negotiate with the surviving men of Benjamin. The united tribes wanted to try and assess the damage, to hopefully restore the defeated clan. However, this proved problematic. All of Benjamin's settlements were destroyed. Their sons were killed, their wives and daughters taken away, their fields set ablaze. The survivors were lost men, famished, lonely, bleeding from inside and outside, and more than anything, angry. Here I need to explain. 3,200 years ago, a clan for an individual was everything. People did not marry outside the clan. They were loyal to the clan's way, to their language, to their heritage, the folklore, the weapons, the customs. Israelite tribes had all sworn an oath to never give their daughters in marriage to a Benjamin, and this became an issue as well. In order to try and correct the unfortunate outcome of the war, the tribe of Benjamin had to have a continuance. To facilitate that, and to obtain unmarried women, it was arranged that the second city of the Jebusites, the one in Transjordan, who were also late on their taxes, be looted and destroyed. The captive unmarried women were given to the Benjamin tribesmen. In addition, unmarried women were arranged to be kidnapped from the farming community of Shiloh. I know this sounds a little unfair. The entire account of chapter 19 starts off with sexual violence and is resolved with violence. We try not to judge the past, but here we have to try a little harder. It seems that even the Bible finds it difficult to explain such an unfortunate turn of events. The final words of the book of Judges are, "In those days Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit."